It's important to know the difference between confidence and arrogance. Arrogance says, I am always right, while confidence says, I am willing to learn from new perspectives. Arrogance has trouble seeing others' gifts and strengths, while confidence appreciates them. Arrogance informs people of their own goodness by their words, while confidence shows people of their goodness by their actions. And arrogance builds itself up by putting others down, while confidence is excited to succeed with others. Arrogance cannot stand the idea of falling short, while confidence accepts one's own weaknesses with humility and grace. And so confidence is an extremely important quality to have as an adult. And when you walk onto campus for your first day at a new school, hold your head up high. Or when you walk into that first career interview, shake their hand firmly. Or when you see that person who makes your heart race with excitement, walk up and introduce yourself with a strong voice, but maybe not too strong. And when you are offered an opportunity to partake in something that you know is wrong, be confident enough in who you are to say, I don't need this. I was in Washington, D.C. a few years back with some high school seniors for a school history trip, when one day one of the students walked up to me. It was in the morning, and this student was also in my youth group, and he had a concerned look on his face, and he said, Pastor Aren, I had a dream about you last night. I said, what? He said, I had a dream where you were really, really cool. You were on billboards, you were on TVs, you were so famous. And I thought, wow, my youth pastor is so cool. And then I woke up. I didn't know if I should feel complimented or insulted. But the truth is that I'm probably not very cool, and I know that. But I do have confidence in who I am as a person and as a child of God. And I think that is so much more important than being cool. So never forget to be confident. My goal for the longest time was to become a sports writer. What a great job. But in college, I got involved in many different ministries, and through those, I experienced something completely different. Fulfillment. The fulfillment of serving people, helping people, caring for people. And so I decided to become a youth pastor instead. And I am still continuing to pursue that fulfillment because it's when I do that I feel the closest to God. And so I encourage you to live to bless others, not just those you get along with, but those who look different than you, think different than you, and those who are different than you. Because when we live to bless others, we experience Jesus in a whole new way. I'm reminded of a day that I was asked to speak for chapel for one of our academies. I showed up and sat in the back waiting to go on stage to speak when they announced that a student would be doing a special music. And up onto the stage walked a short freshman student, standing in front of his entire school, all of his peers, to play a song. What an incredible amount of courage that takes. And then he pulled his trumpet up to his mouth and began to play. And it did not go well. He just blew it. No pun intended. But the song was not going well, and he tried stumbling through a few more measures until he just stopped and ran off stage. You want to talk about an awkward silence. That's what we were feeling in that moment. And then the teacher stood up front again and simply said, well, welcome Pastor Aren to the stage. And I had no idea what to say in this moment. Of course, all of us were feeling so bad for that young man. And I tried stumbling through a few words, and I knew that that young man was sitting in his seat, his face in his hands, distraught at what had just happened. And could you blame him? And so as I was speaking, I noticed that some of the students began quietly and respectfully going over to him to put a hand on his shoulder, to whisper words of encouragement into his ear. And these were seniors doing this for a freshman. And then towards the end, they led him outside. And as I continued to speak, of course, still thinking about that young man, I noticed that they brought him back in. And I got the hint that I should wrap it up. I mean, I don't think anybody was really listening to me anyway. I don't think I was really listening to myself. And I got off the stage. The teacher walked back up, said, "Thank you, Pastor Aren, but we have a chance to be a blessing to one of our own right now." And they invited the student back up to try their song again. I couldn't believe he was going to try again. And so all of us were hoping and praying on the inside for him to do well with this song. And he stood up there, still looking nervous, but now with the confidence and the courage of his fellow schoolmates behind him. He put his trumpet to his mouth and played the song again. And it went great. He made it through the whole song. And on the last note, we all stood up and began applauding and cheering him on, and you could see how good he felt. And that only happened because his peers knew the importance of blessing others and knew the importance of being there for him in that moment. Just a young freshman, somebody they could have disregarded, but that's not who they were. And so while this pastor was on stage speaking about the gospel, they were down on the floor living it out. Trust me when I tell you that people will rarely remember what you say to them, but they will always remember how you made them feel. And so never forget to be a blessing to others. And guess what? God is for you. God wants the very best for you. God is on your side. So no matter where life is leading you next, especially if it is out of your comfort zone, I pray that you will be confident, that you will be a blessing to others, and that you will remember that God is on your side and wants you to have an amazing life. And so never forget the blessing that God has upon your life, and always remember how much you are loved.